Psychiatric services in the border city are well under-resourced. That, according to the CEO of the Prairie North Health Region. David Fan says the city is in dire need of more psychiatrists. Currently, there are only 3 in Lloydminster, with another starting in January. But in a city of 30,000 plus, that's just not good enough.
In order to have an all-rounded practice, in order to be able to look after your patients better, you want to have some access to inpatient beds.
He blames a lack of beds at the Lloydminster Hospital. Fan says they need at least 10 psychiatric beds to serve the community better.
Who need inpatient admission because of a psychiatric problem. They have to be either transferred out to Edmonton, Ponoka, or North Battleford in Saskatchewan. So that is not ideal. That's not what we like to see.
Fan is now branching out to both provincial governments to help pay for those inpatient beds. But he says the entire Lloydminster Hospital needs to be redeveloped to make room for those beds. Well, this Saturday marks the 1-year anniversary of Alberta's distracted driving legislation. But drivers don't seem to be getting the message when it comes to talking and texting behind the wheel. Stefan Kachmar has the story.
People aren't changing their ways, okay? I can honestly say we have seen a few people do pull over to the side of the road to make their phone call. Great, kudos to them. We're proud of them. As for people talking on their cell phones while driving a motor vehicle, majority of them, they haven't stopped.
Not only are drivers in Edmonton and Calgary not cooperating, but the problem extends to Lloydminster, where the RCMP have been kept busy.
On a weekly basis, we're issuing a number of tickets both sides of the border. It's a problem that the onus is on the public to change. They're not changing, and
the public is taking notice, and they're unhappy with distracted drivers.
I think there's a lot of people out there that don't really pay attention, doing things they shouldn't be behind the wheel, and it's not safe.
Not everyone agrees with this point of view.
That we can get a ticket for putting on lip gloss and stuff, I don't think that's necessary at all. I'm still aware of everything when I'm putting my lip gloss on, so I don't know. I don't agree with it.
Drivers in Alberta may not be intimidated by the lower fines when compared to the higher ones handed out in Saskatchewan.
If people saw a higher fine, more people might be willing to change. But when we're issuing traffic tickets for $115 on one side of the border, when on the other side of the border they're close to $300, there's a difference.
Stefan Kachmar, Newcap News.
Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure, a motto Lloydminster's regional archives live by. Relics are often lost in basements or storage rooms, but local archivists urge residents they should be collected and taken care of.
For the use of future generations, for their use and enjoyment. We want to preserve history, and so we do hope that people will bring in their collections and other items for future generations to use.
The Lloydminster Archives is looking for all sorts of old stuff to add to its collections: yearbooks, funeral invitations, audio recordings, and even old
really
phone books.
Early material, especially from the bar colonist years, like the founding of Lloydminster is really, I mean, we always are excited to get those kinds of things.
The Lloydminster Archives accepts donations Monday through Thursday from 1 to 4 p.m. and is located inside Lloydminster's library. It's an age-old craft, fashioning jewelry from semi-precious metals. In this week's Arts and Entertainment feature, Gerard Lampow introduces us to an area artist bringing out the deeper meaning behind her handcrafted jewelry.
Oh, that would be fabulous.
The process is called reticulation, and this bit of silver is heated till it's red hot and then cooled to remove impurities. An art teacher for 25 years, Dawn Lawrence Flowen got into jewelry in 2006. Her work captures the sentimental requests of her clientele.
I do a lot of custom work for people that want jewelry for remembrance purposes, or mummy bling with their kids' names on it.
She works with Midwest Canadian artists and pitches in with Arts Without Borders, benefiting from one of their scholarships.
I learned how to work with copper and bronze, different colors of bronze and steel, as well as the silver that I already work with.
She has this advice for youngsters attracted to her craft.
If they're interested in sculpting, or they're good with tools already, or they just have an interest in jewelry or beading, I mean, just start. And there's all kinds of instructions out there on the internet and all kinds of people. I just started a jewelry guild here in Lloyd.
She embraces the opportunity for more training and speaks to the balance between training and creativity.
I think that you need a mix of learning by yourself and learning from someone who really knows, whether it's just an apprenticeship or taking a formal class.
Several charities also benefit from her skill.
I volunteer at Restore, and actually now I'm making all of these bracelets for their 10-year gala to help them raise money to build houses. They're building 7 houses with Habitat for Humanity this year, so that's something that's coming up in September.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.
Farmers across our region have had quite a growing season, and with harvest just around the corner, grain growers are anxiously awaiting what this year will yield. In this week's Agriculture Report, Peter Quinlan shares some of the challenges crop producers are facing at this point in the year.
For some, it's been a decent growing year, but for others, it's been devastating. But whatever the case may be, harvest is just around the corner, and area farmers are about to find out just how well their crops fared against the elements.
And there have been some challenges, certainly with hail, with insects, and with disease. And that has trimmed our expected canola yields too in Western Canada.
While some areas have had the best growing conditions in years, other farms have been hit hard by natural forces.
One comment I heard from our office is that from the FSC side and the Alberta side, there have been only 3 days during the growing season so far, after say middle of June, that there hasn't been hail claims in Alberta.
But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Disease has begun killing off Bertha armyworms who've infested fields across the region, and the frequency of hail damage is expected to drop significantly for the rest of the summer.
Farmers would really like some dry weather now to be able to complete their harvest and get that crop in good grade and in storable condition.
And Blue says international factors are also giving a positive outlook as we head into the fall.
We're seeing high prices, and that has some certainly positive effects on potential incomes for crop producers.
And for farmers facing the additional challenge of dealing with an open market, Blue has some advice.
To know your quality of product, know what you have in the bin, and then try to market your product rather than just to follow the general market prices for that particular commodity. Because your product may have characteristics that may get yourself a premium if you try to market it aggressively for its characteristics.
Peter Quinlan, Newcap News.